We're back with breaking news. New video just released by Florida police show George Zimmerman getting handcuffed and taken for questioning just minutes after he allegedly had a violent confrontation with his wife and father-in-law yesterday afternoon. Police arrived on the scene in Lake Mary after George Zimmerman's wife, Shelley, called the police and told them that Zimmerman threatened her with a gun, punched her father in the nose, and smashed her iPad.
Keep coming. Why are you putting your hands up? Put your hands up! That person over there. All right. Get on your knees. Cross your feet.
Police detained and questioned George Zimmerman before letting him go without charges. Police searched him but didn't find a gun. They're now trying to retrieve video from the broken iPad that they believe may contain evidence of what happened. And that could potentially lead to charges against George Zimmerman. Joining me now is Maddie, Zimmerman trial juror B 29, and her lawyer, David Chico. Thank you both, Maddie and Attorney Chico, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
And let me ask you, Maddie, because you've been very candid and constructive. I think you've tried to be very positive and going forward with this situation, and I respect that. When you heard this 911 tape, I'm going to play with Shelley Zimmerman, Mrs. Zimmerman, called into 911 yesterday. I want to know, as one who sat through that trial, what came through your mind? What did you think about when you heard this? Listen to this call from George Zimmerman's wife yesterday.
He's in his car, and he continually has his hand on his gun, and he keeps saying, step closer. He's just threatening all of us with his firearm. And he's going to shoot us.
Okay.
He punched my dad in the nose. My dad has a mark on his face. I saw his glasses were on the floor. He accosted my father and then took my iPad out of my hand and smashed it and cut it with a pocket knife. And there's a Lake Mary city worker across the street that I believe saw almost all of it. I don't know what he's capable of. I'm really scared. Dad, get behind a car or something. I don't know if he's going to start shooting at us or not.
As you hear that, what goes through your mind, if anything?
I believe that his wife, she knows exactly what George Zimmerman is capable of doing. And maybe she must have been more fearful because she knows that the truth is someone got killed a couple of years ago over, probably his anger or over the situation that went about it. So when she's calling and she's stating that he has a gun or he's waving or he's gonna, she sounds like she's fearful, like she knows what he's capable of doing.
Now, let me show you this photo. TMZ obtained this photo of George Zimmerman smiling with the owner of a gun manufacturing company. This is the same gun used to kill Trayvon Martin. And he's there smiling, posing with the gun manufacturer, the manufacturer of the same gun he used to kill Trayvon Martin. As someone that sat on that trial jury, how do you feel about seeing him standing there smiling, posing with the manufacturer after this trial where he was acquitted?
I believe that George Zimmerman has been smiling since the first day he came out in the courtroom. He's carried that smile all the way through. He believes, he's very positive that what he's done is there's nothing wrong. And in my heart, I believe that to me, it's like a mockery. He's not feeling bad. I mean, I can't say how he feels, but he's just not showing any remorse of anything that went on with the situation with Trayvon Martin.
Now, go ahead. You were going to say something else, Maddie? I don't want to interrupt.
and carrying a gun and being able to carry that gun again gives him more right. And I believe I heard a little bit of her, the wife's story, where she expressed that he feels he's invisible. And it's very hard to be one of the persons that had to deal with the deliberation and had to deal with him being free right now. But just to know that in my heart, you feel that a person is guilty, but when it comes down to the law, they give you so much that you could work with. It makes not only feel, it makes me feel worse the more I hear about George Zimmerman coming out on TV, because I feel like they're giving him so much, he's becoming a superstar.
Now, when you say he's becoming a superstar, it's like he won't go away. He's always in some kind of altercation. He's in the public. And you said at one of the early interviews after the trial that you believed he had gotten away with murder, but that you had to do what the law said. Now, when you say that, do you think the laws ought to be dealt with, or do you think that the judge didn't explain it in a way that gave the jury that you want a chance to really deal with it, or do you think the prosecution wasn't clear enough? I mean, what do you think was the vague or gray area?
I think the gray area there was a set of laws given to 6 individuals. You have women's that are more educated and more, that have been around people that are lawyers and they've been around reading these laws. Yes, the jurors, we all worked together and we looked at the evidence, and the evidence was just not there. And by the law, the way it was read to me, it shows that there was no evidence to charge him guilty. And if I go with my heart, which was one of the things that the lawyer said that we couldn't do, was go with our heart, or we couldn't assume, or there was no what ifs. So since I couldn't do that, I had to go by what the law said, and the law said that he was not guilty.
Now, there were those that said that after you and others, there was one Juror B, 37, that had said, "It doesn't worry me. I think that he will be more responsible than anyone else on the planet right now." And clearly, there's been several incidents since the trial. But there were those that were questioning what happened in the jury room. Did people pressure people? Were people bullying you? You had said earlier that you had believed he was guilty. Then a few hours later, he wasn't. Were you bullied, Maddie?
I can't say I was bullied. I really believe that most of the women's worked together, and we went through the evidence, and we continue to go through the evidence. And there was just nothing that the way the law was read to me could say that he was guilty. Now, as time is going by, and again, you start hearing the news and you start hearing, lawyers talking about the subject, lawyers letting people know, this is how it could have gone. I don't know how it should have went. I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
The worst feeling is to know that I'm the cause of someone's death. And to know that this man is still making a mockery, where he's still showing off, getting speeding tickets, walking around with a gun that, he shouldn't have a gun. But, it hasn't even been that long. There should be a time limit for you to even purchase a gun after you have a situation like this. But I think the only way all this is going to change is if we change the law.
It's to change the law. Now, Maddie, let me ask you this. When you see video like you just see, I mean, does this bother you? Do you think about it since you on that jury?
It hurts. It hurts me a lot. It bothers me because you go right back to the stories where the people, the comments that people say, you could have changed, you could have done, you could have. And it's going back to making me think more and try to figure out what could I've done. But to be honest with you, the more we think about what I could have done, we're wasting more time. Right. I want to know what we should do now. I mean, what could I do to help to change the law? What could I do to change the situation so it doesn't happen to another child? I have a 20-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. I mean, I have my 13-year-old right now in counseling because he's going through a lot of the struggles of this situation. I want to know what I could do to make a difference. I can't continue to give George Zimmerman all that power where he continues and everybody keeps talking about him. Let's talk about what we could do to change, to make a difference, to do something, because that's what I want to do. I can't continue to give him, let him be the superstar.
And as you say, deal with the laws and what can be done to make this fair. And I hear in your voice the concern of a mother and the concern of a human being, like you said, is not a lawyer, that just wants to see what is fair and right for everybody's child, including, I know you had given statements of condolences to the family of Trayvon Martin.
Yes. I struggle every day. People have, I'm not speaking for the other jurors, but right. My assumption is, you know, everybody has moved on. And I remember the first day that they asked me at the Voltaire, was this going to be a hardship? No one explained to me that after I left this place, I was not going to be able to have my life back. And people continue to say, you know, you want your 15 minutes of fame. This is not something you want to be famous about. You know, what I am proud of is that I stood by what I decided because it was given to me as it was read to me. If it was the juror's fault or if it was the judge's fault or whoever's fault it was the way the law was written to me, or read to me. So as I continue to keep saying that, I've always said, George Zimmerman is a murderer. He killed Trayvon Martin, but only one person knows, and the only person that's going to deal with it is God. I'm a Christian person. I love God, and I believe spiritually, physically, and mentally that this will be taken care of. He's putting himself through more stress. He's putting himself through more shows. And as you see, his anger, which Shelley was expressing that he had anger problems, is showing right now. And all we could do is let him fall on his own. I mean, you can't do anything else. I mean, we can't. I don't want to sit there and make judgment on anybody else, you know, or be in a situation like this ever again.
If you've made it clear about the law and changing the law, and you dealt with, and the jurors dealt with the law, but if you could say something to George Zimmerman tonight, in light of all of his actions and behavior since the trial, if he's watching tonight, what would you say to Mr. Zimmerman?
I really would like to ask George Zimmerman if he's happy. I mean, are you happy? Because I don't understand how someone could continue to keep a smile like that with all the hurt he has caused.
Wow. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Attorney Chico. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.